Yes, my squad, my viewers, my elites, my subscribers, welcome back to yet another Bleach chapter review with me, Captain Vibes Days. Of course, first thing first, happy holidays to everyone. Thank you for taking your time out of this day to tune into my review. I hope you all had a good holiday and had fun. If you're watching this, you're probably still enjoying your holiday, whatever. But I was going to push this out earlier, but, I had some company over, and now that they are gone, I said, you know what, now will be a good time to push this out. But I was going to push out days later, but I said, nah, now's a good time, so I'm going to do it now. But this is Bleach chapter 563, titled Superstar Never Dies. Now with this chapter, there's quite a few things I'd like to discuss. So of course, the way it starts out, picking up right where the last chapter ended, where Renji does a horizontal slash across Mucho Flex's waist. And we see he lands the blow, and blood is gushing out. And Mucho Flex, he actually crunches down. It's like the wound is open and he closes it. And he said, I will never die. He was like, a superstar should never die, by a villain. He was like, don't you agree, James? And you see the mouth of James. He's all cut up into pieces from what Renji did to him last chapter. And you see the mouth just starts talking, just agreeing with him. And even Renji is looking like, what the hell? And of course, you see a little James come out of the mouth. And then you see all the other Jameses coming out the pieces of James. And they all start saying, you're super, you're great, yeah, get him. And they're just cheering for him. And that just amplified that special cheering technique even further. Renji, of course, he's looking like, what the hell is this? And we see Mucho Flex, he just powers up to the max. I mean, you see he just stars damn near everywhere. And at that point, once he flexes and just powers up, he just now recognizes Renji. He's like, oh yeah, you're the one who I drop kicked last time. And even Renji was like, damn, so you're just now memorizing me. So the thing is, he goes on to do a new technique called the Star Riot, I believe that's what it is. And he charges up and he punches. It looks like he punches the air because there's some distance between him and Renji. So I'm guessing a mile away, because Mucho Flex did state that he can attack it, he can hit a target that's a mile away. So when he swings, it looks like he punches energy. If not energy, it's just the force of his punch, and it sends Renji flying. I mean, and at that point, that's when demasculine, he just starts to sense these flurry of star punches. He's just saying star, 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 just punching and punching on some G Gundam stuff. Not some Dragon Ball stuff, some G Gundam stuff, because you see all of these fists, just after images, just everywhere. And he goes on to tell Renji, like, with the level of force that I'm hitting at, you're just flying and flying and flying and flying. And you see Renji, he's just getting tossed all the way down, tumbling. It's like he's in a horizontal free fall. And he holds onto this ledge, and it, like he holds onto a wall of a building, and it breaks off. And the masculine says, look, there's no point. Like, you're going to keep going, and while you keep going, I'm just going to erase you into dust. And when he says that, he goes on to transform. Like, you see these, I guess it's like a cape. I first thought it was wings, but I'm just call it a cape. And you see this star around his head. I mean, and like he's just a star nipples. And the only thing that was semi-cool, I like the little Quincy, Vannereach symbol that was on his belt. But other than that, yet another form that looks straight up retarded to me. He flies in the air, and that's when he designs a star. And he's called I think the supernova. And you see James, he's cheering. And one thing I noticed, I don't know if he took out James or not, in the midst of him doing the supernova, because it made a crater in the shape of a star. And if you look at him, look at the panels where James looking up, it's like, oh damn, you can see like the environment getting lighter and lighter. I don't know if he got caught in that blast or not. It'd be funny / ironic if he did. I hope he did, because it seemed like that's the only way to kill James, just to completely erase him, not grind him up, because it seemed like it's going to be tiny bits of James, still cheering on, Mucho Flex. So I don't know if he got caught in the blast or not. But Mucho Flex, he goes on to think that he took out Renji in that blast. But what do we see on the last page? We see Renji, standing there with the smoke slightly going away, and you can see the first little bit image of his new upgraded Bunkai. You see his hand like this, and you see the snake part over his hand. And of course it says to be continued. Now, that was basically the chapter. Now, first thing first, alright? First thing first. I must say, I knew it. I said it, I knew it, and I caught it. Go back to my last chapter review. Go back. What did I say? I said Next chapter, maybe he'll go in. Mucho Flex will go in his final holy form, push Renji up against the wall, and at that point, Renji will be forced to go Bunkai. That's basically what happened. So yes, Captain Vazquez, I called it. However, I will say this though. One thing I did notice, is that technically he did not say that was his final holy form. He didn't. He just got a massive power up from James, saying superstar, cheering him on. So and I was in the forum sites, and people were saying, yes, that was his final holy form. Some people were saying no, it's not, because they would announce that. They would, just basically boast and brag about that. They'd say, like, now here's the real power of my true final holy form. But even if that was his final holy form, it didn't look very, angelic or holy-ish or Quincy-ish, unless when he had that cape on and that star thing around his head, maybe that was his final holy form. I guess that was the closest you can get to it looking very angelic, but keeping the style of him being a luchador wrestler all in one. Who knows? But when he, in the beginning of the chapter, when he crunched it down and closed that wound, that reminded me of when Ikaku, he flexed his arm and he popped his arm back in his socket. I mean, this is Bleach, so But I wasn't too shocked, because I knew he wasn't dead, but I didn't think he would go that far to just, and it will close. I mean, the wound still had to be there. I'm not saying that he crunched down and it healed. He just crunched it down and that was it. But also, James, what the hell is James? Looking back at these Quincy's, or these new generation of Quincy's, it's clear, this is very clear that these are literally new generation of Quincy's, because the type of things they are doing, shape-shifting, having, okay, I'm not saying James is a Quincy, because we still don't know who he is. But then again, if he is a Quincy, I'm not going to be 100% completely shocked, because like I said, the things we've been seeing these Star Knights doing so far, it won't be too far-fetched. But this one kind of takes the cake. This motivator is crawling out the mother. He's just multiplying. But my thing is this. Mucho Flex. First when, Rose cut him in half. Mucho Flex, he was, pissed about it. Like, oh man, you attacked an innocent fan, and he thought he was dead. Then we see Renji sliced him up. Mucho Flex, he was pissed about it, acting as if he was dead, or he lost his fan, or his #1 fan. But when he seen him cut up in pieces, he still went to ask him a question. Basically, just thinking like, oh, he's still alive, so let me go ahead and reassure him that, oh, I am a superstar, right? Like, there's no way a villain could defeat me. And you see the mouth starts talking. So maybe somewhere deep down, Master Masculine knew that James was alive. But anyway, I guess the only way to get rid of James is to completely incinerate that thing. And I love the faces Renji was making in this chapter. I do love the faces. Also, the new forms, the new looks that he took on the power-ups and whatnot, you know me, still looks stupid. It's just, I was never a fan of these luchador, El Forte type wrestlers. No. And the thing is with Master Masculine, so far, if we look at the pattern of this fight since he started fighting, he does a technique. James powers him up. Does another technique. James powers him up. He does another. It's like that's his pattern. And if you look at the way he fights, he really doesn't fight like a wrestler. The only move he really did that reminded me of a true wrestler was that double drop kick he did on Renji in the beginning. Other than that, I mean, it seemed like he does not fight like a real wrestler. I mean, when I think of a wrestler doing moves, I think of Zangief or, let's see, Zangief, King from Tekken, Hugo, things of that nature. But that's not the case with Mucho Flex. But I guess the good thing for all the Mucho Flex fans is that he is pushing out a lot of different techniques. I will give him that. He is pushing out techniques. It's clearly that Kubo made him for just laughable purposes. Like, he's just some type of joke villain. It seems like every clique or squad within Bleach or other series have to have that one goofy character. But I will give this, believe it or not, I will give this to Master Masculine, Mucho Flex. Even though he looks silly, he looks stupid, he acts goofy, he's been holding it down though. He took out Rose, and Kensei. He did that. You know, he beat Renji in the beginning. I mean, hey, he is doing his thing. But at the same time, I still don't care about him. The supernova technique. Did he hit Renji with that point blank? We don't know. Maybe he missed. Maybe he, hit him. If he did hit him, I don't think it did a great amount of damage. Renji, he probably could take that because, like I said, look at the power boost. We all know Aizen, and no, I'm not comparing the masculine to Aizen, so calm down. We all know what Aizen did in the fake Katakura Town fight. He just was mowing down lieutenants and captains like that, including the visors. Now we see the masculine. He takes on Kensei and Rose. Both are in Bunkai. Drops him like that. And so we see Renji shows up. Renji's blocking the punches. He's elbowing them, making craters and everything. And now we see Mucho Flex. He gets even stronger. And he does a technique on Renji. If he hit him with that supernova, let's say it didn't do anything. Like it makes you think, seriously, I talked about this in the last chapter, but now this really is set in for me. Like, damn, what level of power is Renji on right now? Is he at the strength of, no, I can't even say that. I was going to say, is he at the level of Byakuya's strength before Byakuya went up to the Royal Guard? But I even doubt that because, to be honest, Byakuya is my boy. That is my favorite captain. I don't see him. I never see Byakuya elbowing somebody making a crater that big. I just don't see Byakuya doing it. So it's safe to say, I honestly think now, yes, Renji, maybe in terms of raw physical power, he's stronger than Byakuya. Experience and skill, I don't think he surpassed Byakuya. Also, Renji's Bunkai. Technically he didn't say Bunkai, but it's safe to assume he went Bunkai due to the fact that we all know there's been plenty of times when Renji and other characters in Bleach, especially Renji, they activate the Bunkai, then say Bunkai. Like, we'd see Renji look like he'd take a big, massive hit, just like in this chapter, and we'd see the smoke, everything, and then we'd see the snake head lift up, then he'd say Hihiyo Zabimaru, things like that. But looking at his hand, and this was talked about on the forum sites, I talked amongst others about this, looking at his hand, how he had it like this, you've seen it looks as if his Zanpakuto is fused with his arm. And remember, Aizen spoke on that, saying that was the true form, like the final evolution of the Zanpakuto. So if that's the case, it does make me wonder, did Renji, along with his training and his Zanpakuto being reforged, did he achieve a final level with Zabimaru? I wonder about that. If so, that'd be cool. If not, it's like, damn, but he's still hella powerful. One last thing I want to talk about. Ironically, this was like Mucho Flex, how he's gonna die. It's ironic. It's all because of his own actions. He did this to Renji, which caused him to go up to Royal Guard. Because think about it, the Royal Guard, I still believe they only came down for Ichigo. But when they came down, they took up Rukia, Renji, and Byakuya to heal them. So because say if Rukia, Renji, and Byakuya wasn't even hurt, like I said, I think they'd have just took up Ichigo. So they came down, seeing Rukia, yeah, let's take her. Seeing Renji, oh man, yeah, let's take him. Seeing Byakuya, damn, yeah, let's really take this motivator. And right there. So if Mucho Flex wouldn't have grabbed Renji's Zanpakuto, drop kicked him, send him flying, damaging him, and ripping his Zanpakuto in half, that wouldn't have caused him to go up to Royal Guard, get the training, have a reforged Zanpakuto, come down even stronger to get revenge and defeat him. So it's like he signed his own death certificate at that point. That's what Mucho Flex doesn't realize. And one thing I am glad about that Kubo made put in here, he finally remembered Renji, because I did wonder about that. I never spoke on it ever since this fight started. I never spoke on it, like, how come he doesn't recognize Renji? Like, what the hell is this? Some people talked about that on Kubo's part, saying it was bad writing, but this is proof positive. Again, I'll always say, reserve your judgment. But why did he forget Renji? Who knows? He claims, when you're a superstar like me and you're just defeating, small villains like that, it's hard to keep track of who you defeat, whatever. But anyway, I'm just glad he finally remembered Renji. But yeah, that's my own thoughts about Elisa. So basically the chapter, had a good amount of dialogue. This was like a good chapter for Mucho Flex fans. It had the excuse me, it had progression through the fight. Even though I'm starting to feel this fight is starting to get a little bit drawn out. I just hope Renji defeats him next chapter. If not next chapter, I think Renji will defeat him in 2 weeks. You know, like 2 chapters from now, and that will be very lovely. And one thing I will be interested into seeing after this is Rukia versus Asuna, because if you see, even though Renji has a close relationship with Byakuya, it's proof positive that Rukia and Byakuya's relationship are more closer. It'll make more sense for Rukia to get revenge on Asuna opposed to Renji getting revenge on Asuna. So I would love to see that. And this will really prove Rukia's strength. Also, let's see. Upon that note, yeah, like I said, pretty cool chapter. Like I said, I didn't care for the Mucho Flex power-up parts. I just don't care. I'm just glad it happened with what I called. You know, he seemingly went to his final holy form, and we see Renji went Bunkai, just like I knew it. And I'm glad Kubo kept his word, like he said in the interview, that he gave Renji an upgraded / new altered Bunkai. So, again, thanks for watching this review of mine. Give me your thoughts, comments, and concerns. Yeah, so that's about it. Get back to enjoying your holidays. Me, Captain Bronze, signing out.